Hey, thanks for joining me again. It's that franchise guy, John. Today I've got another exciting conversation. I have Brian Knuth, Footprints Floors franchise, and he's here to tell us all about the exciting growth and the opportunity with Footprints. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, John. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no, let's get right into it too. I'm excited to talk about this. This is one of those brands that comes along every few years that just goes, that exponential growth. So I'm excited to hear the story from you. Tell us first, though, introduce yourself, maybe a little bit about your background, how you got to Footprints, and how it's going for you.
Yeah, so kind of the short version of my background is I started at a very early age with a tremendous opportunity to work in a service business and slowly gain some ownership. And as I gained that ownership, I started getting some of those, owner responsibilities, owner benefits, and really got bit by the bug hard, which led me to a very wonderful opportunity in 2012, which was starting a franchise development firm with some partners. I got a great opportunity to jump on board and start this firm that was going to essentially take on the franchise development for specific franchise organizations, where we would help them with the outreach, we would help them with the building the legal, we would help them with speaking with prospective investors and really try to find the right fit. And so I've been doing that for, I guess, going on 9 years, 10 years now. And it's been going great.
Awesome. Well, I obviously I know a lot of the brands you guys manage, and it's an awesome organization, and you guys do a great job with all of them. But today we're here to talk about Footprints, so let's focus on
Right.
that. Speak a little bit to the popular term home services right now, and obviously for anybody watching this in the future, it's March 2021. We're on the back end, hopefully, of a pandemic, and we're talking about an industry that's exploded in the middle of a pandemic. Obviously you were well on your way beforehand, but so maybe talk a little bit about the home services, home-based sector, and then move into Footprints. So why Footprints? What's the opportunity about?
Sure. So in doing this for several years and really coming from a background in service, I've kind of always worn the hat at our organization that I manage and champion the brands that are related to the service sector. So I would say, for starters, home service businesses have been very popular for years and years and years because of, in my opinion, it's a very recognizable need. It's not a want base or a, frivolous type of purchase. It's a need. Largely what you're selling is labor associated to it. So getting put out of business by Amazon, kind of the mechanization putting you out of business, it's less likely than being a retail center. The cost and the monthly operational expenses, the time to build out a location and hope that it's on the right street corner with the right traffic, those things just don't exist. So, I guess home service business prior to COVID has been very popular because of the easily recognized need, the longevity opportunities of it, the profit margins of it, because we're taking labor and adding to that, but also the barrier of entry tends to be not any less than other businesses, but a more calculated risk. A risk you're putting on yourself that, hey, I can go out and run a business like this. It's not a risk of hoping you put it in the right spot, hoping you have the right menu options, hoping people want to consume your cuisine or whatever the case may be, right? You hit the next trend with frozen yogurt or whatever the concept may be. So prior to COVID, very healthy sector, not a sexy sector, to be very candid, right? Most people don't get excited and say, tell me more about your janitorial business. But so as we embarked on this COVID situation, a little over a year ago, it really started to show even more of those benefits, by which we were already a home-based business. So shutting down offices and going out into large that doesn't exist in service. Most of the time, when you look at service businesses, Footprints Floors or others, they're naturally socially distant, right? You don't want to be around the guys that are painting your living room. Like you just exit the house. So, as COVID kicked in, I think a lot of consumers and a lot of homeowners and a lot of, prospective business and franchise owners really started to pay more and more attention and recognize how agile and how quick to pivot businesses like this are. Your monthly operational expenses are so reduced. And nobody's going to say you can't occupy your home office this week and you still have to pay yourself $7,000 worth of rent. So COVID really played to that from an operations standpoint of, service businesses, specifically flooring. And then to add to that, what we started to see throughout the year, as consumers started spending more and more time at home, some of the I don't want to say issues, but some of the mild problems in their floors started to become more of an eyesore to them. Things that they used to overlook and say, no big deal. Well, now they're spending 7 days a week, and they're probably, I have 2 small kids, so I'm mopping my floors 3 days a week, especially in spring with the dog.
Yeah.
And I'm just looking at my floors going, my goodness. And you add all that to kind of this mindset of, my gosh, why am I overlooking my palace, the place I arguably work really hard to pay for? And so I'm kind of describing our target consumer as being, middle to middle upper class homeowners that recognize little things in their property that they really, got excited about transforming. And so I say it that way because floors, they're pretty exciting. It's not, HVAC where you spend a bunch of money so your air conditioner does the same thing it did just yesterday. Right. You leave the property, I'll say today, and you come back tomorrow, and these brand new floors transform the appearance of your property significantly. And so, I attribute some of that to the massive growth, but more important to all of that, I really attribute it to the infrastructure and the business model that Footprints Floors, Brian Park and his executive team have really created. So, to go back, I would say we're positioned in a very nice industry, which is service, which is, going to be here now and forever. COVID created a little bit more awareness to consumers where they started looking at their floors. They had some money in their equity of their properties, or they got refund checks because they didn't go on a spring break trip. So they started consuming us, and that was all great last year. But more importantly, the trajectory and the growth of us growing franchise opportunities around the nation is really largely to do with the infrastructure, the tools, and I would say the lead generation and marketing machine that Brian Park and his executive team have successfully built. So I put a lot of the success on the organization and just the way they've built the program.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you transitioned into that, because I think that is the exciting part. When I talk to candidates, people who are looking at getting into a franchise, and let's say we're focused on the home services or a home-based business, they're going to go, why would I look at flooring? And so we talk about the lead generation and so maybe you can speak a little bit more to this, because you can certainly talk better about it than I can. But how somebody can come into this business and you guys give them the blueprint and the tools, and really all they have to do is focus on customer service, right? Selling the jobs and servicing them, and the rest of it is the systems, right? And
yeah,
that's what's exciting. And I think that's why, and then you talk about an all-in investment. This isn't liquid. This was all in, right? Of what, 90,000 total?
That's right. So I'll take you back to my younger years of being involved with a service business. Business might be a stretch to call it, but we had a couple crews. We had, 5, 6 employees throughout the summer, and then we'd scale down during the winter. And, throughout the day, I and my partner would try to wear, all the different hats associated to a business, which included managing production and customer service, as you said, and making sure the jobs were done according to the work order sold to the customer, and so on and so forth. And at the end of the evening, you'd have to get at your computer at home and try to figure out how to market and get in front of the next customer and take a look at your budgets and evaluate that, I just threw $1,200, $1,800 at said, newspaper article or magazine or whatever the case may be, and did it work? And I'll say very candidly, that's not my wheelhouse. That's not my expertise. And so when I look at Footprints Floors, and to share with you, and this, so your audience, I'm an owner of Footprints Floors as well. So I own 3 territories, and I don't want to be misleading. I do have a fantastic operational partner, and I say it that way because it's very important. He's making all the decisions out there, but my decision to invest in Footprints Floors and to tie this all together is that, you know, corporate has created this mechanism and this infrastructure that really takes my marketing budgets and with my permission and my approval, of course, allocates them towards specific channels. The result of that is that we're getting in front of customers that are our target customers, whether it be tile, wood, laminate. We don't do concrete, so we don't get in front of concrete customers. Our dial is that sensitive. So corporate manages the allocation of that. They also then appoint a receptionist to me whose job it is to field all those phone calls. So instead of me out there meeting with a customer and trying to sell them and, you know, fiddling with my phone saying, you know, sorry, I got to take this call real quick or whatever, my nerves start to pile up. I don't give undivided attention to the customer. Corporate does all of that on my behalf. Now, I think it's very special because I say the term receptionist. It can easily be identified as this call center, but it's the same individual that answers our phones, emails our customers, texts our customers, speaks with, you know, my operations manager, but also every franchisee speaks with their receptionist. So there's this very cohesive and accountable relationship between the first touch point with a customer and then you as a franchise owner or me as a franchise owner walking into a customer's property at a scheduled appointment. Now, as you said, when I'll just role play with me, when I'm in a customer's property providing an estimate, I'm uninterrupted. I showed up on time because my day is scheduled to do just that. I wowed you as a customer because not many carpenters, contractors are showing up on time. They're usually scrambled. By the time I'm in your property, I'm able to give you an hour of uninterrupted time. Now, an hour may sound like a long time to a salesperson, but in an hour, I'm gonna really gain your trust and earn your confidence because I listened. We talked about, you know, your previous horror stories. We talked about, you know, what you're really looking to accomplish out of this project, and we worked back and forth. And then I can wrap that all up by handing you, you know, a number in the moment and walk away. And what this really does with corporate managing all of our inbound phone calls, inquiries, everything on that side, it allows for me to gain your confidence, your trust, to wrap this whole thing up in one interruption to your lifestyle, right? I meet you Tuesday at 2 o'clock, and an hour later, I'm handing you with a hard, firm price. And I'm saying, John, should you be ready to rock and roll, here's your price. And the perception of you as a customer is, my goodness, if he's this put together now, and even before I met him with his infrastructure, I can only assume he's going to carry out the project in that fashion. And the world we play in, you know, is home improvement. So floors, paint, whatever the case may be, most of us as homeowners know we're usually chasing these guys down and we're going, my God, do I have to manage this business owner who's a flooring pro? Am I going to have to manage him when I really want to pay him to manage the project? And so we can instill that confidence and that trust. And that to me is really the irreplaceable or invaluable offering that Footprints Floors offers. And I've run the math up and down, and I've had a receptionist before. I can't afford a receptionist at the price Footprints Floors offers one to me.
Yeah, and we've all, you know, I say we, you and I, and anybody who's watching this, especially if you own a home, have had that experience of trying to contact, whether it's a flooring guy or plumber or whoever, and you're getting them on their cell phone, and you know, maybe they're up under the crawl space or they're in the attic, and they're like, hey, well, you know, they're trying to help you on their cell phone. I don't know how a whole industry has evolved around that, but it really has. So
our competitor says, hey, I'm going to hang up. You call me right back, leave a voicemail with your name, your number, and I'll get back to you later when I'm free. They never call you back, right? So that's who we compete against. So one, we're good, but two, the competitor's not all that good.
It's amazing. And the light bulb clicks with candidates as guys in my shoes speak to them, because they've all had that experience. And as they go through your process and see, you know, see how this all happens in real time, and it actually is working. And I think the testament to that is how quickly, I mean, and we're not hiding any of this. You've only been franchising for what, 4 years, something like, well, I guess in Colorado it's been longer, but nationally franchising for 4 years, 3 years.
Yeah, two and a half, really, like the beginning of 2019, which really amounted to June of 2019 was our first placement out of Colorado. But whether Brian Park and his team admit it, they were tooling up for this well before they ever took it live. Again, it was not the strategy,
Right.
but he put all these mechanisms in place because he identified, what's the strength of my sales guy? Well, it's meeting with customers, it's selling. What's the strength of my production guy? It's managing production and crews. And so how do we surround them with infrastructure that removes those non-money making tasks that they're not really good at? And to me, it's like I started with, I'm not a marketing guy. I'm not a receptionist. And so I can plug into that system, and very few offerings out there will really truly say, hey, we make the phone ring for you, right? You got to bring your money to the table. It's your budget, but we make your phone ring. And by the way, we answer that phone and we dispatch you out to that according to your schedule. So you make your schedule up. It's our job to fill it in. And it's a pretty powerful infrastructure that he created well before the 2 years of launching this thing nationally.
Very, very powerful. And I meant that as a positive, not a negative. In many cases,
That's right.
I'm having to explain to people, hey, it's only a 2.5-year-old franchise, and that's why they only have 8 locations. Well, in your case, it's a 2.5-year-old franchise that sold, I don't even know how many are you up to now in terms of?
Yeah, it's one that it's ever moving.
That's
But I
right.
believe we're currently at like 61 locations
Okay.
and like 114 61 franchise owners and 114 territories, somewhere in that category.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, and almost daily, I think on LinkedIn, I see one of either Footprints or somebody from your organization posting about another area that's sold out, or another franchise has been awarded. So if you're out there and this seems compelling to you, you like a home-based business, you like the idea of getting involved with something that's got just a fantastic group of people running it, and has financials that you'll be able to dig into and validate for yourself that are I mean, we can't give numbers here, certainly not on video, and all I'll say is you will be excited about what you discover if this is something that seems compelling to you. So um, you can always catch me again at thatfranchiseguy.com or on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to introduce you to Footprints and Brian. And uh, any last comments? Certainly, thanks a lot for joining me today. And I think we ran a little longer than I planned, but there's just so much to talk about with Footprints.
There really is. And yeah, the last comment I would make, John, is I expressed the positioning and the infrastructure of the brand, but I'll also attribute the growth and the success of this brand to really the franchise partners, right? We've awarded 60 plus franchise partners in short order. And, to any of you guys interested in evaluating this opportunity, what you're going to see very quickly is they all come from different walks of life, and they're all sharing almost the exact same successes. So if you want to buckle down and do what we do, which not everybody wants to do it, and you'll learn that through the process, you're probably going to share similar results to all of our franchise partners around the country.
It's exciting. It really is. And congratulations and to all the success, excuse me, success you've had so far. And I'm excited to see where it goes. So I know we'll be working together with some more candidates. And thanks again for joining me today.
Thank you, John. Appreciate your time.